Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. Thank you for joining me again on Spectacular 31 Days of Halloween. If you have not subscribed, please do so now. Stick around and be part of this wonderful family. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. These little things really do help out as tiny little YouTubers. It really helps us out. So thank you for being part of this family. All right. So Spectacular 31 Days of Halloween. Today I am going to be talking about a bit of a controversial topic. So I've already saged this house, and I want to give you all a fair warning. I am going to be discussing a Ouija board and the history of it and some personal experiences. I do not have a Ouija board. I will not have one in the house, and I will not have one to show you except the pictures that I will provide during this video. So if you are concerned about listening to something about a Ouija board, I understand that. I respect that. I hope that you'll stick around and watch this because I don't want it to be anything more than informative and not scary. But if this bothers you, I will see you on the next video. I understand. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Okay, for the rest of us, we are going to be talking about a Ouija board. A Ouija board is also known as a spirit board, a witch's board, a talkie board, or a talking board. The original name for it was talking board. The Ouija board is an invention from America. We can't quite nail down the first person who invented it because back in the 1800s, there was no copyright laws. There was a group of investors who got together and purchased the patent to the Ouija board, the talking board. But we are not 100% sure who invented it because they could have stolen it. And it could have been stolen several times. So we're just not going to name anybody who invented the patentized version. There are other versions that are much older than these 200 years old that it's been around, but they were not the official Ouija board, which is what we're talking about here. So why the name Ouija? I found this to be both weird and fascinating. So, Ouija in Latin apparently means yes. The other story is one of the people who got together to do the patents and his sister, who was supposed to be a very strong medium, got together and asked the board, what did it want to be named? And it spelled out Ouija. When they asked what the word Ouija meant, they said, good luck. Now, this may not be 100% true. An all-around entertainer who was known by the name Ouija. Ouija, not Ouija. And it has been theorized that that is actually the name that they were going for. They misspelled it, and now it is Ouija. Who knows? But those are the two most popular stories of how Ouija became known to this world. And it turned from talking board to talkie board to Ouija board to spirit board to witch's board. So it's all over the place. I might accidentally interchange these throughout that. So most people have seen a Ouija board, and I will put up pictures to show you what a classic one looks like. But we're going to pause here for a moment and shout out to my girl, Melissa Blue Delish. I have little planters on my ear today that she has handmade. They're beautiful. I love them. And of course, I have her necklace that reminds me of the Haunted Mansion. So I will leave her information in the description box below so you can order yours. She does custom pieces. All right. The Ouija board was born out of heartbreak and sorrow. It was born out of the Civil War. There were countless people who had gone to the war and they were gone. Parents didn't know what happened to their sons. Brothers didn't know what happened to their brothers. Uncles, grandfathers. They had no idea. When they walked away, they probably were never going to see them again. And as you know, the Civil War was extremely bloody. There were no way to get real messages back and forth between parents, loved ones, guardians, to the soldiers. So people took solace in the talking board in order to try to communicate with their loved ones, or to try to ask another past loved one to see if their son was still alive, or to see if they could protect them on the battlefield. This is very tragic and very, very sad. And you will see a resurgence in history of the spiritualism / Ouija board movements when there are times of war and sorrow in the United States. That also includes Vietnam, the Great Depression, and 2020. There have been many, many different waves of this. Back in the 1800s, spiritualism was everywhere. Now, spiritualism is a movement that was extremely popular during that time. So popular that Harry Houdini tried to disprove it. Well, Sherlock author Arthur Conan Doyle and his wife were huge believers. His wife was also a spiritualist. That meant that they led seances, they were mediums, they were using different types of divination tools, such as pendulums, tarot cards, and Ouija boards. This was something that was everywhere. Every home had a Ouija board. Some of them were homemade. It was not uncommon for you to walk into a house and see an entire family with little children playing a Ouija board, because at that time there wasn't negative connotation with the board. Fast forward to, I believe it was it's either 1976 or 1978, I apologize. But the movie The Exorcist comes out. While there was a book about it, it wasn't as wildly known as the movie. And of course, the movie is a horror classic. In this movie, we see the protagonist, the little girl, I can't remember her name right now, and her mother in the basement. They happen upon an old Ouija board that used to be her mother's. She plays with it, and suddenly she's possessed by a demonic spirit. Obviously, the conclusion was playing with the Ouija board was bad. And that meant possession, danger, a spiritual war. And after that happened, the entire spiritualism / Ouija world tanked. Now, yes, spiritualism movement kind of died out a bit, but it was more upper class, rich people who still continued to do seances and many things all throughout those years. You also saw Ouija boards in magazines, in children's books, and on television, being used like a plate. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was used either as a plot device or comedy. But most people did not associate evil with the Ouija board until The Exorcist came out. Now, yes, there were people who were concerned about the Ouija board, but those are the same people who were concerned about tarot cards. Strong women. Any woman that had an opinion. You know, the same people that burned us years ago. And some really, really, really ingrained Christians that were almost Puritan-like. See Salem, Massachusetts. Witch trials. So almost overnight, this entire movement changed from entertainment to fear-based. And it wasn't just the Ouija board that was affected. It was tarot cards and everything. And very simple things started going out the window too, such as natural remedies and things that people used all the time because they were afraid that they were opening up the world to the devil. I think one of the biggest things about any of these tools, including the Ouija board, is nobody knows what happens after death. People have died and come back. Usually you can explain their hallucinations or their experiences as lack of oxygen to the brain. It's not 100% that. I know that. I know. And I don't want anybody coming after me for those statements, but that's what science says. The rest of us who do believe in another world or another life after this one, there's no proof of anything. It's all based on faith. So people associated the Ouija board with evil. They associated it with opening up your door and saying, hey, does anybody want to come in? Anybody? Anybody? And letting anybody come into your house. Whether that be a stranger, your next door neighbor, your best friend, a serial killer, somebody who's going to rob you blind. You invited them into your house. What are you going to do? You can't call the police. You invited them. How do you get rid of them? Is a Ouija board a living, breathing thing? Is it actually a porthole to another world? So before The Exorcist happened, it was a fair practice for most people who were really, really getting into Ouija boards, spirit boards, that they were requiring to have a medium there. The medium was supposed to be there in order to open and shut portholes and to be able to detect any negative, bad, low vibration beings around and shut it down. That kind of came out of practice in around the 60s. And so by the time The Exorcist came out, that was almost completely forgotten about. I'm not saying that having a medium at your Ouija board, seance, presentation, whatever you're doing, is going to make things better or worse, but that was a way for people to at least operate safer. There are many people who do get in touch with lower vibrational beings and they don't know what to do with them. I wouldn't work with a Ouija board unless you understand that you might be getting into something you don't understand. And the thing is, none of us understand it. It very well could be a subconscious thing that we are pushing the eyepiece around and we are trying to scare each other. It could be. Or it could be real. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have worked with Ouija boards through my teens and my 20s, but I haven't worked with them since. And it's not because of fear, it's because of annoyance. And why I say annoyance is because I get looked down upon as a person who is a medium using these types of tools now because everybody has a negative connotation with them. I feel like they are a tool. Just another tool, you know? Just like these. This is a tool. The Ouija board is just a tool. Your intentions have a lot to do with it. You're protecting yourself. Definitely required. I sage this whole place, like I said before. Even just talking about it. Because there's such negative connotation with it. I have heard stories, and they were all through church. Always church-based, where somebody burnt their Ouija board and they could hear it screaming. Or they burnt their Ouija board and the next day it was back on their front door pristine. Or they threw it away and saw the garbage man take it away and then it would be back in their house. I've heard this multiple times from several different churches, and I just rolled my eyes, to be honest. I don't feel fear from these types of things because I am protected. I have my ancestors, I have my guides, and this is my opinion. Everybody else has their own, and they are all completely valid. But I protect myself every single time that I do a reading, and I've done hundreds of them. If you'd like to book a reading, please go to www.lisatierick.com. I have done hundreds of readings. I have never felt fear in any of them. I am coming from a place of love and healing, and I have protection around me. So it is just a matter of opinion, what you think about a Ouija board. But do you guys think that one movie could literally have stopped an entire movement? It's happened before. It'll happen again. What do you guys think? What are some stories of your Ouija board experiences? I had a time where the planchard was moving on its own. And I threw it in a bag and set the Ouija board outside. And the next day it was still on the same letter. So I tapped it upside down a couple times until it came off. I think that was probably the scariest experience I ever had one. The other scariest experience I had was a lecture of having a Ouija board. Contest for Halloween. So I'm going to do my best to do a live reading on Halloween, which means I'll go on live. And if you purchase a reading while we are on the live, I will put your name into a bowl. And at the end of the live, I will draw one person to win a pair of, well, it'd be one, a deck of tarot cards. If you have any questions, let me know. I am donating a portion to all of my readings for the next 30 days to a friend of mine who is struggling from Parkinson's disease. So the more purchases that you guys do, the better and more positioned that I am to help my friend. So please, please consider purchasing a reading. Like I said, I want to help him out. I want to be able to continue growing my business. I have my own website. I can show you my Facebook page, whatever you want. But if you have questions, I have answers. And I won't use a Ouija board. I will use my tarot card deck. Okay, guys. So please have a wonderful night or day wherever you are. And remember that every single day is a gift. Use your time wisely. And bye for now.